For Friday, the 18th of August. I'm Stephen Ridgway. It appears that there is a massive campaign delivering proxy server software to Windows systems that are not expecting to be part of a proxy network. So AT&T's Alien Labs have identified at least 400,000 Windows systems that appear to be running proxy, a particular form of proxy server, which is, on the face of it, legitimate. There's a paid service that you can subscribe to, and if you do, then your home machines become proxy exit nodes, and so on and so forth. However, it has been discovered that the proxy software is also being delivered via cracked games and other very enticing downloads, which then will surreptitiously install the proxy software onto your system and join you to the proxy network. It's curious. I'm not completely sure where what the advantage is to the attackers for doing this. I suppose it means that they've got a larger network without having to actually go out and get subscribers, I suppose. Also, proxy software, other malware may well be installed as well. But just in case you are concerned about this, the article that we will link to the briefing, the article's from Security Affairs, so that's where I came across it, which is referring back, as I say, to some Alien Labs research. It gives you some indicators of compromise, so it may be worth having a look if you are running Windows machines and you have been installing less than legitimate versions of things on your system. You may have ended up with all sorts of strange things, but this is a new one to me that you can look to identify and see if it's on your machines. And also, in an article from Security Affairs, there is a good write-up of a new exploit for Apple iOS 16 that basically spoofs airplane mode. So it's a post compromise exploit. So we'll park for the moment that you have to get access to the machine as the attacker. But it basically changes the UI to show as if the user is in airplane mode. If the user then tries to do things like use Safari, it then spoofs turn off airplane mode to use data kind of messages rather than the official ones, which says asks you whether you want to use WAN, Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi or mobile or WLAN and cellular in the States, I guess they call it, but otherwise very convincing message. But having spoofed airplane mode, the attackers can then remain connected to the device, interacting with the features can result in information being sent back to the attackers. There's a callback routine involved in this, and the data that is subsequently transferred over Wi-Fi is then able to be monitored, and so on and so forth. So again, it's an interesting one. It is. I'm not clear to me how you would end up with this on your device. Oh, does also um, it does also appear to disable your IPv4 and IPv6 addresses from the device, although in reality it hasn't done. So quite clever. Not sure where it's going, but it is one to perhaps keep an eye on if you use iOS 16. And then finally from me today, nice and short one. This today because it's a Friday and we all need to begin to get things finished for the weekend. So, business email compromise. 30% of phishing threats involve newly registered domains. Now, we kind of know that newly registered domains are one of those red flags, but it is interesting to actually see some research into what percentage of uh, phishing emails actually are associated with newly registered domains. And by newly registered domains, we kind of mean things that have been spun up in the last few days, or possibly even the last few weeks. But these things don't last very long before they're identified and blocked, or before they're moved to somewhere else, or whatever it may be. So, in order to avoid phishing attacks, you know, do the usual stuff. Use phishing resistant MFA, use some of the um, uh, email protection. Well, not very articulate today, am I? Use some of the email protection suites that are out there. Some very good cloud-based ones, or you could run stuff on your own infrastructure, or at the very least, make sure that your provider you've turned on any email protections that your email provider offers. Make it clear to users that being paranoid is a good thing, and that there's a blame-free culture within your organization. So simple stuff like that. But yeah, if you have the ability, which I think most organizations should have, the ability to do this, is monitor your DNS lookups and then flag for um, lookups for domains that are newly generated. Now, okay, appreciate, depending on how you run your email systems, that may not be so straightforward, I guess, but it's not beyond the will of most of us to get information about what domains are being contacted one way or another. And definitely there are some very good lists that you can subscribe to, or alternatively, it's relatively straightforward to look up the age of a domain in real time. So have a look if emails are being sent from or to domains that have only recently been created. That is a red flag. It is stuff you should be. I would think it would be a good idea to be quarantining that stuff and having a look at it to make sure it's legit, because I'm fair guess that reasonable proportion of it isn't. Well, that's everything from me today. Hope you have a good Friday and a great weekend. I shall speak to you all again on Monday morning.